It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
Emily says, my husband is currently in optometry school and I work full time. We take my company match and contribute to a Roth IRA. Should we be putting less to retirement and more towards tuition costs? So how do you weigh that choice about what to throw more money at?
All right, read it one more time.
Sure.
One more time for me.
Yeah, she says, so husband in optometry school, she works full time. They take the company match and contribute to a Roth IRA. So should they be putting less into retirement to cover more tuition up front? Probably instead of loans is how I was taking this. So should she be maxing out investments or getting rid of that tuition with less loans?
So is it better to save for retirement or incur debt to pay for school?
Yeah, this is a very nuanced answer. So we're going to give you some of the data points and variables that need to be considered. First thing, a lot of times when you're a student, the student loan structure is more deferred initially, while it's cheaper while you're in school versus once you've graduated school and you've essentially activated or matured the student loan to where now it's time to start paying it back. So you have to, the first thing I would have Emily do is figure out, what is this actual costing you? Because if it's being deferred or there's not a cost with it, obviously try to minimize student loans as much as possible, but you need to know what the imputed interest rate is on that student loan debt, and then compare that to, and this is why when we do learn.moneyguy.com, the deep dive in the financial order of operations course, we actually covered what is low interest debt versus high interest debt, because we have step 3 of the financial order of operations is high interest debt. Step number 9, which means you're not going to prioritize paying off low interest debt, is step 9 of the financial order of operations. You kind of have to know what is this student loan debt. So because it will matter based upon the interest rate and where you are in that process. So there's some homework that Emily has to do to figure out, is this a savings and investing opportunity, or is this a pay down that high interest debt opportunity?
Yeah, I think, so here's what I think that free money is free money. So you got to be real careful not to ever walk away from that.
True.
Right.
That's why
So
it's step
employer
2.
match, you got to go get that, for both of you or just you if you're the only one working. The Roth is another interesting thing that I would kind of think through a little bit, right? So optometry school, I'm guessing when you graduate from that, you become an optometrist. Seems like a reasonable thing.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Optometrist, dual income working household. There's a chance that you guys will rapidly, as you advance your careers, be in the place where you can't even do Roth contributions anymore. You may be above the income thresholds where you can even get that money in. Now, there are some mechanisms and ways that you can do backdoors if it stays open. But I am one of those proponents, every year that passes that you don't get money, that $6,000 into a Roth IRA, is a year of missed opportunity. So I would really think through, man, if there's a way that I can budget and scrimp accordingly to make sure I'm getting that $6,000 or $12,000 each into Roths every single year, that's going to pay dividends long term. You still have to follow the financial order of operations. You have to assess where you are in that student loan interest. But I would think, man, free money is valuable, and tax-free dollars on a closing window for a high-income household is also something really valuable to kind of think about.
Yeah, there's always a balancing act of the risk versus reward. And I think a lot of content creators will talk about, they focus on only the risk of the debt. But I think for a lot of young people, I'm talking about people under 45 years of age, you have a bigger risk that you're going to get older and not have built wealth. Right. There is a big risk for those from 20 to 45 that every dollar is so valuable, meaning that multiplier effect on every dollar. Go to moneyguy.com/resources. We have our wealth multiplier so you can see what every dollar that you are entrusted with could become, its maximum potential. Understand there's a balance there. So when you're young, that's why we have the difference between step 3, which is high interest debt. Look, we want predatory debt. We want the punitive debt to be paid off as fast as possible. But if it's a low interest debt, and it's even potentially deductible, and then you've got, when your husband graduates from optometry school, you're probably not even going to qualify for those Roths. Exactly what Bo said. That window of wealth building for those tax-free growth wealth building is going to completely go away for you. That's why I once again love the affirmation of the financial order of operations, that we get it right, is that we focus on, for young people, that risk that you're not building assets and wealth when it's important, where you get that exponential growth. But then we do have built into the system, as you get older, when you're post 45, now you're not only building wealth, you're thinking about preservation of wealth. I love the intricate, and it is a higher, it's not just a behavioral, it's also a mathematical. It's kind of combining both the behavioral and the mathematics of that decision-making process. And I love how those two integrate well.